What's up, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the 1796 Sports Podcast. Me and Jim holding it down. Lots to talk about. First on the docket, I think it's the most pertinent. Tennessee basketball after losing to Kentucky in the midweek, which was maddening. I mean, we can touch on that if you want to, Jim, but I'm trying to stay positive to start it off. And then a horrible first half against Vanderbilt on Saturday. They did a 180 in the second half of that game and ended up beating the Commodores 81-76. Your first thoughts on that result?
Well, I was at the opening day baseball game, thinking, all right, we're gonna get revenge on Vandy. I'm not gonna have to sweat it, whatever. And I was actually gonna go to the game, but then they moved the baseball game up, so I was like, well, I'm not doing both. But
Yeah.
anyway, listen, people, I'm not loaded like some people that could just, you know. Anyway, um, but yeah, check the score. Was watching the first half, and I'm thinking, no shot. We're about to lose by 30 to Vanderbilt in Knoxville. I mean, everyone had that thought going into halftime.
Yeah.
And then, I already told Ryan the story, but guy next to me starts pumping his fist because someone gets an N1 or something, and the tides change, and the Vols look like the team that everyone knows that they can be.
Yep.
And it's just the tale of two teams. What team are you going to get? And we're going to talk about it. You can't be that first half team in March. Not one game. You can't. You can't. Any team in the tournament can beat you any day of the week if you play like that first half. If the Vols play like the second half, good luck to anybody. I honestly, Tennessee could beat anybody playing like that. And it's just like the Florida game in Knoxville. We've talked about it, but that's how I feel. I think Tennessee just needs to, kind of like how Rick said about Zakai. I think the whole team needs to play mad. Play doubted. Get something in your head that makes you play like that all game long, and that's
Yep.
how it is.
The thing that made me the most mad about that first half is Tennessee's played bad against their two biggest basketball rivals for seven of the eight halves, really, um, against Kentucky and Vanderbilt. And it just seemed like, I don't want to say they didn't care, but it certainly looked like they didn't care in that first half. I mean, the effort was not there. The defense was terrible, which is what, Rick Barnes' program is supposed to hang their hat on, and it just wasn't there. And then, like we've talked about, tides changed in the second half, and they woke up. And like you said about Zakai, after he threw the ball at Carey's chest for Vanderbilt, the whole team started playing better, not just him. But it really made Zakai carry the torch for that second half for Tennessee. I mean, 0 points in the first half, 22 in the second half. I mean, it woke him up. And like you said, you got to find things to be playing for. I mean, I don't know why playing a rival isn't enough in that first half, but it was just weird, very weird. But I'm glad they figured it out. It's a testament to that they do actually care, that they turned it around and won that game. But like, I don't think it's Rick Barnes' fault that they aren't ready to play. I mean, at some point, it's not the coach's responsibility to get up for a rival.
No. And what about Jemima Ashak shooting threes? Like
Big time threes,
big
important
time threes.
threes.
Hey, they're gonna. Finally, Rick Barnes said something to him, bro. You're a Division One basketball player. They're leaving you wide open. Wide open. Take the shot. Be confident. And look what he does. He hits two very important corner threes. I mean, to turn the game to 74-70, I mean, that's a big difference. So I think it's another key point though in this game is that Tennessee in the first half was actually out rebounded 21-10 in the first half,
Pitiful,
but
pitiful.
dominated the boards and did a 360 and dominated it and was 20-12 in the second half. So that makes a huge difference
Yeah.
in the ball game there. And then I'm pretty sure Carey's the one that fouled out. And
Carey and McLaughlin fouled out, so they're
yeah,
two
well,
tallest.
McLaughlin's he's trash, but Carey was destroying Tennessee in that game,
Mm-hmm.
and once he got out, that was like the lifeline of Vanderbilt. I felt like now, what's his name? Hogard was hitting
Edwards.
every shot he was just taking. So, but obviously wasn't enough, and Tennessee ended up winning. But like you said, I mean, to me, this team just needs to play. If they could figure out playing that second half all game long, I really have, that's the team that kept up with Auburn on the road,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and about Kentucky, and you said it to me, and I didn't realize it until, afterwards. Obviously, everyone's mad after you lose to your rival, but
Yep.
like, there's teams that it's just not good matchups. I don't know what it is. And that was with that first game was without Lamont Butler. And then the second game was half the game was without Lamont Butler, and I don't even think Jackson Robinson played.
He didn't. He did not
Exactly.
play.
So there's something about it that I don't know. The first game we should have won anyway. I mean, when you take 21 more shots than the other team, there's no reason you should lose.
Yeah.
So
That Kentucky game before we finish up on the Vanderbilt game. I mean, it's like you said. I mean, sometimes you're just not a good matchup, and the whole it's Kentucky Super Bowl point is kind of silly to me too. I mean, if it is, that's good for them. I'd like for us to play well against our biggest basketball rival, take it a little bit more seriously, if that's really all it came down to.
well, they suck at every other sport. So
And I'm not even going to say Kentucky's a better team than Tennessee because they lose to everybody else. It's just a matchup issue. Like
I
I
don't
don't
even
know.
think it's a matchup issue.
Well, you talk about I don't know. It was one of their freshmen that had like 24 points coming into that
Perry
game.
or something like
Perry maybe and he had 9 points in the first half and was just jacking up threes like he was Kobe Bryant. Like I I floated the idea to y'all on Tuesday night that maybe they just out swagger us. They have more confidence in that game both times,
maybe,
but
yeah.
I don't know. But it is what it is.
Well, because you're talking about matchups, but Tennessee's the best at guarding the three, and it felt like anything they did, there was someone wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even. I just feel like you said, there's something, maybe a mental block, kind of like the football team when it goes to going to Gainesville. It's
Yeah,
like this year coming up, Tennessee should go into Gainesville and win. They should, but is it that road mental block on winning? And I feel like that's just with Kentucky basketball as a whole, not necessarily in Knoxville or in Rupp. It's more of just a team mental block. I don't know, but
yeah. I mean, Kentucky, to their credit, stepped up both times this year, and now it's 5 out of the last 6 times that they've beaten Tennessee, which is it's frustrating. But at the end of the day, it's 2 games on your record, and of course, I want to win them, but it's not the end of the world. But you can learn things from it, and I think they have from both of those games. We controlled. I don't want to say control, but we hung in for 35 minutes at Rupp, and then we just lost in the last 5 minutes. Like got dominated the last 5 minutes. So I tweeted it out when it happened. You just got to put it in the rear view because there's still a good chance that Tennessee can earn that double bye in the SEC tournament, and they maybe even earn a 1 seed if they finish the season how we all want them to. I mean, you just look at what's left. If you go 5 and I guess it'd be 4-1 now. I think that's good enough to get a 1 seed considering your opponents because you play 3 more ranked teams, and 3 of those games are on the road. I mean, the only two bad opponents are LSU and South Carolina. But like, if you win at A&M, you win at Ole Miss, and you beat Alabama at home, all you got to do is beat one of those 2 bottom dweller SEC teams, and I think you're in really good position for a 1 seed. So it was imperative to put that in the rear view, and they started that on Saturday.
yeah. And a big realistically, I think Tennessee could roll in with this momentum from the second half on and go into. It's going to be a rowdy environment going into Aggie Land down there.
Yep.
It's going to be a top 10 opponent. Their fans are going to want it just as much as the team's going to want it.
Hmm.
But we'll see. We'll see what Tennessee does because, like I said, if they play like they did against Auburn, I just don't think there's a shot Texas A&M beats you because like A&M doesn't have like I understand Wade Taylor and Phelps and they have the pieces, but I feel like they're not the A&M team from last year that was lighting it up from three, and it's just a different team. I just don't know. Like I said, it's hard to predict these things now because you don't know what Tennessee you're going to get.
I mean, the thing with A&M is it's going to be a disgusting game if A&M wins the game. I mean, their thing is rebounding, specifically offensive rebounding. I mean, they score even less than Tennessee does on the season. Well, it's basically the same. It's 74.6 for Tennessee, 74.5 per game for A&M, but they allow five more points a game. But of course, you got to factor in being on the road as well. So it'll be interesting. I'm glad they have a week to prepare for it because that's going to be a tough physical game. Um, a few more things on this Vanderbilt game. A good Chaz game, which was nice to see, as he went 9 of 16 and 21 points.
Yeah. It's, again, everyone comparing him to Dalton Connect, please stop it.
Yeah.
Now, Chaz Lanier is his own guy. He's his own type of player, but I honestly don't think we'll ever get a Dalton Connect again. And the reason I say this is that Chaz is hit or miss. And I feel like it's his confidence level because we know the guy could shoot. But I feel like he even said it on one of the post game things, talking about how he needs to get better with reading what he needs to do because a lot of times where he could shoot the ball and he doesn't, and I think Rick said it perfectly, is that he's thinking he's being unselfish by not shooting that, but he's being selfish by not shooting it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that quote, but I 100% agree. Is you're the best shooter on the team, we expect you to shoot those.
Yeah.
So
It's weird for Chaz in his last couple of games. Well, the last games he's played well in. I mean, against Oklahoma, he was 3 of 10 from three, but still had a good scoring output. And then he was 2 of 5 yesterday against Vanderbilt from three and got 7 buckets inside the 3 point line. So maybe he's adjusting now. People are guarding him, looking for that mid range or the just getting to the rim more. And I think he's going to have to do that. I mean, if all you have to do is guard the three against somebody, it's not going to go well. I mean, that's all they got to worry about. Like he has to be aggressive, scoring from everywhere, not just
mhm.
from behind the 3 point line, because he can do it. Like if there's a clear path to the rim and you're a D1 player, you can get to the rim and score. So
Or get fouled.
yeah, and that's the thing I think is big for Igor in his last few performances ever since he came back from his flu being out against Florida is that he's not just shot threes. He's gotten to the rim. He's gotten fouled. He's played aggressive in the paint, and it's done well. He's done great. He's been one of our most important players in the last 4 games. So it's I think since that Kentucky performance, the whole team has realized we cannot do that again. They're not good enough shooting to shoot 45 3 pointers. So it'll be interesting to see how they finish these last 5. And I really think like Tennessee has won 4 of their last 5 games. And we said after they lost to Kentucky and they were sitting at 4-4 that we would like to see them finish 7-3 or 8-2, and they're on pace for that. So
Yeah. And the 2 games we thought I think the 3 games we thought they would drop is what, Bama, A&M, and Kentucky, right? I'm pretty sure that was the 3 we would say
the
that.
3 most likely, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I also have another question about basketball. What do you think this team would be doing if Estrella never got hurt? Do you think he makes that big of a difference to where Tennessee might not lose a couple of these games? Do you think he makes that big of an impact? Because if he's not hurt, Phillips might not be playing as much. Which I think that's not true because I feel like you'd be seeing Estrella and Okpara be, flipping in and out, and then you'd have Igor and Phillips flipping out,
Yeah.
which but I was curious on what you thought about that because after seeing him do the W on his little scooter, I'm thinking, I'm like, I really wonder what this team would be with a fully healthy JP.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely brought energy last year whenever he was in the game. And even if he doesn't, even if he wasn't getting like crazy stats, it would just be another body. Just
Mm-hmm.
keep everybody more fresh. I mean, if you look at the box score from yesterday, really it was a six-man rotation. Dubois had 6 minutes, Bishop had three, and Cade had seven. And Gainey had 30 off the bench, and all the starters played, 25 plus minutes. So I'm the one thing I'm afraid of, besides the random poor shooting, which by the way Tennessee has shot pretty damn good in the last 5 games. But besides that, obvious concern with the Rick Barnes team is I fear that there's a wall that they're going to hit if they keep on, only playing six guys meaningful minutes by the time you get to March. So the answer is JP would at least help with that part of it.
Yeah, I'm starting talking about Darlin Stone. I'm starting to believe it's just not going to happen. Um, he's just not the guy that. Well, at least right now, I just also this season I'm talking about. I just don't see him becoming a all like. I wouldn't even say we thought he was going to be this stud, but like when he shoots, man, it's just like there's something off. Like I feel like it's either a mental thing, mental block, something. But when he was at Hofstra, I mean, he was shooting 45% from three. Here, every time I see him shoot one, it's like literally like brick, 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 brick. It's not even like not even going in and out, or it's literally just bricks. And you know, kind of worries me because I really thought he was going to be a pretty big impact, and he has during the Texas game. He does have his moments, but consistency is what we need for a big March run. So it's going to be
Yeah.
like you said, it's just what's the def going to do when you get to that point. It's going to be interesting.
It's tough to see this team get past the Sweet 16 with just a six-man rotation. And a six-man rotation that, like, if you have six that contribute well and they all are playing well, sure, yeah, they can make it to the second weekend. But if they don't, I mean, it's just the coin flip to even get out of the second round. So I would like to see Dubois do something. I think a lot of the things that is earning him a spot on the bench right now is just the little things. I mean, there's some points where it looks like he is lackadaisical and gets lost on defense, and there's some points where he just misses an easy layup or has a dunk go in and out at Rupp that leads to a three on the other end. Like, it's just little things I think for him. But speaking to that Texas game, since Sakai was doing so well yesterday, Rick Barnes decided to do what he did at the end of the Texas game, which was isolate Ziegler. And we did that for at least five possessions in a row down the stretch, and that kept us ahead. One of Meshek's threes came off of that with him just sitting there wide open in the corner. And, like, to put it simply, Zakai won this game for Tennessee with his leadership and, of course, his 22 points and 8 assists as well.
Yeah, I mean, without that, you're not winning it. Because it was funny because Ben McKee actually made a tweet saying how, you know, I can't remember how many points Chaz had at the time at half. I think it was a good amount, and I remember commenting saying, "Well, Chaz is going to need 40 for us to win this game, and that ain't going to happen." Well, it didn't happen, but I'll tell you what happened is that Zakai Ziegler picked up those extra 20 points by himself. So,
Yep.
but I'm just saying, I said it was right. It was just with another player getting 20, and it happened. So, but I don't know, man. I think you're right. I think they need to do the isolation thing. Let them leave Jemai wide open. Jemai could hit wide open shots if he takes them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of times he second guesses himself. But I think Rick finally said, like I said, I think he finally told him, if they're leaving you open, you take that shot.
Yeah.
Because if he's hitting those, they're going to have to cover him. and then that opens up a whole another can of whatever to where they're not doubling Chaz or they're not, you know, the spacing to where they're leaving him wide open and Chaz has like another half second to shoot if they're covering Jemai. So I think run the offense through Ziegler. Gainey, same thing. I think Gainey's been playing really well. Um, Brick said it best too. Is like if you actually go back and watch these games, watch how much them two untuck their jerseys. Like
because they
Gainey,
get fouled the hell out of.
yeah, Chaz and Gainey are literally getting the Tyler Barron treatment from 2 years ago, where like
Yeah,
it was nuts. Him and James Pierce were getting held every play and no flags, no nothing. So that's them two in basketball. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, it's a physical league. I mean, I'm guarantee you Tennessee grabs and holds too, but at some point, I mean, good lord, like, and they do run a lot of action where they're right next to the defender and they're rubbing off each other. But damn, like if the coach is noticing that their players are tucking and untucking their jerseys 14 times a game, I mean, something's going on. But like I said, I mean, it hasn't affected the shooting much in the last few games, and that's good. I mean, this is the best shooting stretch I think Tennessee has had all year. Um,
Hopefully they keep it up.
in these last 5 games. I mean, even 34% in Rupp, a lot of that was due to the very end where we were just going for desperation shots. But the offense was good in that second half at Rupp. We scored 40 in the second half. Like, that's normally good enough if Kentucky's not going 12 or 24 from three. So I think things are looking up for the team, and I think this week of rest is very much needed. Um, and you hope that it leads to a nice breadth of energy down the stretch to finish out these last 5 games strong. So, any more thoughts on the basketballs before we move on to the ladies' basketballs?
I don't think so. I think, like I said, we just gotta hope that second half team shows up for even if it's 38 minutes of the game. You know, like just
Yeah,
give us that effort all game, and this team's looks almost unbeatable.
yeah, and that's important to remember when everybody gets frustrated. Is that the other team is out there to prevent you from doing things. We're in the best league in America, so it's going to happen sometimes. You're never going to have a perfect 40 minutes, but you can have a perfect most of the game, and you'll win most of the games. So that's the goal. And I don't want to take away any credit for Vanderbilt for scoring 44 points because they were running good sets and they were making shots. But I know Tennessee can play better defense. So Lady Vols, though, another close loss to LSU after they defeated UConn. And then they bludgeon Auburn. They win by 9 against Ole Miss today in a pretty physical game. I saw a lot of people getting mad at the refs today, which was well warranted. But Joel Spear led the scoring with 28 points, and Lady Vols got it done today. And their last 4 games are you got 2 really good opponents, 2 really bad opponents. So I'm saying 3-1 is my expectation.
Yeah. I mean, they played good today. They played good against LSU too. It's just, again, I don't know. I feel like Tennessee is going to be a powerhouse once they get a couple All Americans on the roster. I mean, they're playing with this year. They're playing with house money. Kim's playing with house money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You got a good transfer class, but you got a bunch of very talented freshmen coming in next year. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. I would not want to play them
Mm-mm.
in March. And Tennessee right now, the Lady Vols should be hosting the first two. So they're the last seed that could host two, and I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they were saying, but I'm pretty sure that's what they were saying. So as long as they could win, I'd say, like you said, I think they'll beat Georgia, they'll beat Florida, and if they could sneak Alabama, and they could beat every team on here, because the thing about Kentucky, the girls team, is they have their starting five, and then after that, nothing.
Ole
So
Miss, Ole Miss beat the Lady Wildcats. So
on the road,
yeah.
on the road.
And
So
Tennessee will have to go up there to their. Did you know the Lady Wildcats don't play in Rupp?
they don't
That's
deserve it.
um,
That's what they told me. Is I was like, whoa, it's a little. It's a little. You shouldn't say that nowadays, but
But
But that's Kentucky for you.
you're 100% right. I mean, Tennessee could easily win these last four. Um, they got Alabama on Thursday at home, who's ranked, um, and then you have the one of the gimme wins if they do what they're supposed to in Florida. To Kentucky next on the 27th, and then they finish with Georgia at home. So if they go 4-0, I could see a 3 seed. If they go 3-1, they'll probably stay at a 4 seed. But top 4 seeds in each region get to have your first two games at home, which is it
Huge.
should it
And
should be an easy ride to the Sweet 16.
it's that place will be a madhouse.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the way Kim's coaching, Kim's absolutely killing it. We talk about it every time we talk about him. Kim is the best thing that happened to the Lady Vols since I'd say Pat Summit. I mean,
yeah,
right? I mean, it's yeah, it's gonna exactly how it has to be. Everyone else was mediocre, and Kim comes in first year, and what are they? I think they're 18-6 right now
19 and
overall,
6.
19-6, and you know I think the five out of the six losses they lost by a handful,
Yeah,
if that. They should have beat LSU the first time, but Gilbert hit a backward shot that she wasn't even looking at the rim, and it goes in. So, I mean, you're gonna have that, but the Lady Vols look good. I think I'm holding a firm prediction that I could see them getting to the Elite Eight. Um, But
yeah,
then you play the big boys. You're going to be playing, South Carolina, LSU, Texas, UConn, possibly. Any of those big, top 10 teams you're going to run into. So that's where they've been slacking is those bigger teams. I mean, Texas lost by 4, South Carolina lost by 7, LSU lost by 5. I mean, like you're looking at all these games where you're like, dang, they could beat anybody,
yeah,
but they got to finish it out.
yeah. I mean, and any like we say it all the time for both basketball programs. Anything can happen. I mean, South Carolina lost to UConn by 30 today.
Yeah.
So
I feel bad
it's
for whoever they play next.
Arkansas, and Arkansas is terrible. So that'll be a bloodbath. But again, like you said, an Elite Eight would not shock me at all if they, catch lightning in a bottle on the right nights here in a few weeks. Um, but really, anything past the Sweet 16 for this year is gravy. Like, I don't think anybody would say, "Oh yeah, they're Sweet 16 lock going into this year." So it's
No.
it's just the process, and process looks like
Well,
it's going good.
what did you think they were going to be? Because I think we've had this discussion before. I can't remember what we were saying, but I think we definitely said they'd be a tournament team,
Yeah.
but we never expected what we have. And like I said, as the years go on, where she's loading this roster up,
Hmm.
because a lot of people have to remember. I mean, you're not getting Caitlin Clark's. Like Caitlin Clark's a generational talent to where you're not getting one and dones in women's college basketball. And the way Kim plays, I mean, 10 people playing a game, 11 people playing a game. A lot of people like doing that because they get playing time,
Yeah.
and that's a big thing to college students. Like, oh, yeah, I'm an All American, but I can go to Tennessee and play for sure. Or I can go
Yep.
to South Carolina and sit on the bench for a year, because
Yeah.
I think their whole lineup's all American. So it's like, I mean, and then they got slaughtered by UConn, which we beat. So Tennessee could beat anybody. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun to watch the next couple of years and to finish this year. I really think Tennessee could win it all. I wouldn't say I'm gonna predict that, but they could with the losing by a couple points to the best teams in the country. So
Yeah.
in a lot of those games they could have won. So
Yeah. The most impressive thing about this season is not just the record; it's that they're in every game with every opponent. Their biggest margin of loss is by 7 to the team that you were just talking about that has 10 McDonald's All Americans. And if you would have told me that going into this year, I would have ordered a drug test. Like Kelly would not even be close to some of these teams this year. Like that's the most impressive part is not the wins, really the losses. Like we're that close in her first year. So,
Well,
like
yeah,
you said,
and you're talking about two of the wins. They lost by 4 at Texas, and they lost by 5 at LSU. Two of the probably rowdiest crowds for women's college basketball,
hmm
and you lost by a handful.
yeah,
And and that's good though for them because hey, if I'm Kim, you've been in these situations. This is what I'm telling them at before tournament games. You're home, you got the crowd behind you. Go win these first two, but then when you get to that Sweet 16 game, you've been in these situations. It's a neutral floor. I don't know.
yeah,
Is it? I don't know how women's basketball works. They go to a neutral floor after the Sweet 16.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, and the Lady Vols have a huge following that people will go.
100
And,
percent.
depending on what region it's in, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we could talk about them all day long. It's just what can they not have a third quarter where they only score 8 points? Like
Yeah.
it's just like the men's team. You're gonna have spurts like that, but once you get to March, you cannot have that.
Yeah. 100%. Um, we had boots on the ground this weekend
Boots on the ground.
for Tennessee baseball's opening series.
Yep.
Um,
Got
outscored
my
Hofstra. What was it? It was.
a lot to a little.
Let's see, we had
A lot to two actually.
46-2, I think. So
Got my commemorative ticket and everything. Two of them actually.
let's hear your first-hand experience. What are your first thoughts on this team against a admittedly
Well,
terrible opponent, but just first thoughts?
well, I'm gonna talk about the stadium first. Okay. Um, for everyone that made fun of Vanderbilt because they were playing with like a hanging scoreboard and stuff,
Yeah,
it's not as bad as that. It's not as bad as that. The outside looks like a construction zone, but when you go inside, it looks fine. Obviously, it's under construction, but that place is going to be a gem when it's done. It's just going to be, and I know right now they only have the upper, I'm assuming they're going to be Section 300s, but Section 300 they only have parts of the first baseline to home plate done, but the third base side hasn't even started yet. But next year, that place is going to be a madhouse. Friday night was awesome. The student section was jam packed like an hour and a half before the game even started. Um, Conference games are going to be lit. I feel bad for the right fielder, whoever we're playing.
yeah,
Um, but the stadium was great. Team was great. Listen, I played baseball in high school, and I'm not saying I'm an All American, but when someone's good at baseball,
yeah,
everybody on that team that got to play is good at baseball. And like I'm talking like look at Blake Grimmer, look at Hunter High, like you got Jay Abernathy, Ariel Antigua, and then you got the starters, Gavin Killen, um, Andrew Fisher, Stone Lawless, and Levi Clark are going to be an absolute problem. But let's talk about Friday. Liam Doyle. Bro, I didn't
oh
even
man,
honestly. I lost count of how many strikeouts he had.
I think it
Like
ended up being a 11,
11, but he only pitched what, four
5 innings,
innings, five
5 innings.
innings. Yeah.
Yeah,
They felt bad for Hofstra because like they could have let him keep going. He was throwing a one hitter. Um, it was insane. He looks good. He was throwing 95, 96 the whole game. And I'm pretty sure when he was at Ole Miss, they were saying he was hanging around 89 to 90. And they were saying that's the big thing with Coach Q is he came here and now he's tossing 95, 96. And
that's
that makes
incredible.
a huge, huge difference. I could be wrong there, but I definitely can tell that he's picking up some velocity. Um, but yeah, the hitting's insane. The lineup 1 through 9. I don't even know I don't know. You know how we were doing the lineup predictions? I
Yeah,
honestly don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what Tony's going to do. There's so many people that could hit. It's crazy.
yeah.
And
Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, you kind of see from Sunday, like today's game, where they're trying to figure out, like, do they want Dean Curley at third, Fisher at first? Do we get Gavin at short, put Antigua at second? Like, they're just trying to figure out where people go, because Stone Lawless, I'm sorry, but Stone Lawless has to be in the lineup. And maybe not, maybe he's not catching. Cannon Peebles could catch, but where do you put Stone? Where do you put him? Dalton
Yeah.
Bargo had a little bit of a rough weekend. I wouldn't say rough weekend, but he just seemed slow out of the gate, which is fine. I mean, first weekend is whatever. But people like him, I'm starting to worry about, because you might get left behind with all that talent, with
Yeah.
Levi Clark, with Stone Lawless, with Jay Abernathy, with all of them. But it's a good problem to have, for sure. I mean, it's just, I don't know I don't know what Tony and Coach E are going to be doing, because that lineup is stout, and that pitching staff is nasty. So
Yeah. It's the problem you expect to have, if you can even call it a problem, when you are the best program in college baseball. How are you going to figure out who's going to be on the field? And, you know, I'm not going to make any conclusions after 3 games. In one in a driving rainstorm, and three of them, all three were cold games, correct?
yeah,
So,
yeah, and rainy and kind of
and
nasty
like,
out.
yeah, and like you said, it's the first weekend. It's their first, live action since live action against the team not wearing their color in a while. So the biggest thing you've already said it, the biggest thing to me from this weekend was Liam Doyle. I mean, he just looked electric, and I know it's Hofstra, but 11 strikeouts in 5 innings is like Randy Johnson numbers. Like, it's. I wanted to ask you this too. What did you think of how they ended up deciding the first weekend rotation with Doyle, Phillips, and then Snead?
Okay, I love Nate Snead. I love him. And Nate, and I don't think he'll ever watch this, but if you did, I love you, and don't think I'm being mean or like I'm hating on you. But Nate Snead's a bullpen guy. Like, to me, he he has the talent of Chase Burns, but him coming out of the pen and giving us 4 to 5 innings sometimes is what Nate Snead does. I'm not saying he can't start, because he can, because obviously he was throwing in the wind today. Um, you know, cold, super windy. It's just not a
Yeah,
fun day as a pitcher. But I think Nate Snead's like the golden arm out of the bullpen. Like, if you need a Saturday win where you lost Friday and you're up one and you need 4 innings from somebody, Nate Snead's the guy. Um,
yeah.
Now, I think Coons.
Hmm.
I was actually in line waiting to get into the ballpark on Saturday, and Strickland's parents were right behind me, and we started talking. He's actually roommates with Coons, who had the flu this weekend, which is why we didn't get to see him pitch, because that kid's going to be pitching. Um, Apparently, that kid's absolutely filthy. But you know, also got a little snippet of, I don't think Coach E is going anywhere anytime soon, but which is a good thing for Tennessee baseball. Um, but Tanner Franklin, another guy. That guy can toss it.
I mean, he pitched what 2 innings and had 4 strikeouts. So
Yeah.
that's just
Um,
almost as good as Doyle's performance.
but going back to Nate Snead, Nate Snead to me is a bullpen guy. I'm no professional baseball coach or whatever, but I just think he has the energy type of guy to come out of the bullpen and really bring life to a team. Um, and who knows, he could be the best starter Tennessee ever had, after this year. But Marcus Phillips, I think he did really well in the rain, in the mud that he had to throw in.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, he lights up the scoreboard with 98, 99 the whole time. But the pitching staff's good. Combs, that
Just,
I
just,
don't know if you
just
watched the
like his
game
brother.
today,
Just like his
but
brother.
that changeup's absolutely filthy. Like
Yeah.
even the announcers were like, "What the heck is he throwing? Like, can I see the grip?" type stuff. That's what they're saying on the broadcast because like it's absolutely filthy. Um, but pitching, they look good so far. I mean, Hofstra's not good. They're not good. Some high school teams could probably beat them, but I'm from Long Island, so it's kind of funny because that's where Hofstra's in. But anyways, I just think overall this team's going to be good. Uh, I'm more worried about the lineup. I'm not worried about it like it's going to be a scary thing. More worried about it on who the heck's going to play
Yeah.
because Andrew Fisher's going to be in the lineup. Dean Curley's going to be in the lineup. Hunter Ensley's going to be in the lineup. I'm at this point, I'm going to tell you Cannon Peebles is going to be in the lineup. And Gavin Keelan's going to be in the lineup. So I think that's 5 locks and Reese Chapman. So 6. I think Reese Chapman's going to be in the lineup.
Anybody who can work walks, I want in the
They all
lineup.
could. I was good. I was going to say that too.
Like
They walk a lot.
Peebles, killing Fisher. People are scared of them apparently, or they just have a great eye, and probably both. Because I think Killen and Fisher both had 5 drawn walks. People's had 2, but 5 walks on a weekend, you're seeing a really good release from everybody. So
Keelan, you could tell is very disciplined at the plate.
yeah,
But he could also smoke a ball. I mean, he was a extra bag machine this weekend. And he faced multiple lefties, so he had a rough time, having to face lefties pretty much all weekend. It felt like, but yeah, I don't know what Tony's going to do and then you got like guys like Jay Abernathy that didn't start, which people don't think that's a big deal. They have like what is it, 15 non-cons before they even start SEC play. So it's like Jay Abernathy's probably going to start Tuesday. I'm assuming. Don't know where, but I'm gonna be honest. After Hunter Ensley leaves, I'd be putting Abernathy in center field. That dude being lightning fast like that, he's no balls getting down over there. But but overall, uh, that's this team. This team's as it's coming from a Vols fan, obviously, but like this team's nasty, and they have depth. It's nice, even if Jay doesn't start by SEC play, having him being able to come off the bench and steal a bag for you,
yeah,
really, really nice to have.
yeah.
But I think he's going to play. I think he's going to start before the season starts.
I just don't know who he's going to unseat in that outfield if it's not. Because I think Ainley's going to play center. I think Chapman, with the way he can drive in runs, is going to hold down a spot out there. But I think it'll be a corner spot before he
It's
gets
left. It's left.
before he gets Inslee out of center. It'll be a corner spot, 100%.
Oh no,
In
he's not getting Ensley out of center.
But again, it's the problem you want to have. And I know we're playing Hofstra. We got to say that a bunch tonight, but we were like a lot of ACC teams struggled in the first weekend, and Tennessee did not. There was no hint of struggle, and like you said, the picture will become a lot clearer as we get closer to conference play, and it's going to be whoever ends up in those 9 lineup spots will be good. They will have earned the spot 100%. So
I'm going to tell you one guy that's going to be hard to keep out of the spot that's been playing that played really well this weekend. Manny.
Manny
That
Marion.
that kid he's going to be a good ball player for Tennessee. I'm going to tell you. And he probably has the best walk-up song out of everybody this year.
I didn't hear it.
Well, it's like one of those Spanish songs, and it's like you just know it's like up here comes Manny. Like that. I just knew, you know.
Manny,
Stone
Manny,
Wallace had a pretty good one. Hunter Ensley finally went back to his old one. He was playing. It really pissed me off, Hunter. If you ever watch this, don't you ever damn change your damn stupid walk up song after you win a national championship. You never change a song. Same thing, Dean Curley. You know,
hey, if you,
nothing's better than California Love coming up, and then here comes Dean Curley. You know, like, but
it's a new
yeah,
team,
no,
new
no, no, no,
new
no, no, no.
new
Listen,
team, new walk up songs.
Ryan, you do not go from everybody jump to dang George Lopez theme song. You don't do that. You don't do that.
Hey, I think just like the lineup will shake itself out, the walk up songs will shake themselves out. So we will see.
I'm just
Any more
saying.
thoughts on baseball tonight before they take to the diamond again on Tuesday against UNC Asheville?
No, I honestly think they'll break the Grand Slam thing again. But
Well, it was 14, and they already
12,
got two.
12, I think.
I think the NCAA record's 14.
Oof.
So
They could have had one today, or two today, but
it's the
no
win, man.
one.
It's the
Yeah.
win.
But yeah, we have good problems with the baseball team. Very good problems to have. And we're not even talking about what happens if AJ Russell comes back. Like
Like I don't know. I mean,
dude,
again,
you'd have Liam on Friday, Russell on Saturday, and probably Coon. I'm gonna say Coon's probably gonna be the Sunday guy. That kid's gonna be nasty. But
yeah,
another problem. Marcus Phillips coming out of the pen, Nate Snead coming out of the pen, like Andrew Banky coming out of the pen. You just keep naming these people. It's just like, oh my God.
yeah. It's going to be a good team again. And I'm not saying they won't have struggles at some point, but
Well,
it's hard.
SEC play is going to be tough. So,
Yeah, it's just hard to see them not at least getting out of a regional this year at the minimum.
oh,
So
stop it. They're getting to the College World Series. Stop it.
I, I know.
I'm not going to tell you they're going to win it all because that's tough to do. But like,
I'm just saying the floor is they win a regional.
can we make a pact right now?
Sure.
If they get to the College World Series, we're going.
I'd have to check my bank account.
No. Make a pact right now, live on stream.
I'm good. Give it till SEC play, and I might do it.
Nope. We're doing it, people. He said yes.
Thoughts on softball? 10-1 so far.
It's boring to watch because you can't even watch it.
That does take away some of the.
Yeah, it's so annoying because I actually wanted to watch them play, and you can't even watch them play. So I can't comment. Is hey, 10-1's great, but you should be 11-0. But that's fine.
Any more thoughts tonight, buddy?
Nope, that's it. We're gonna win the national championship in basketball, baseball, and football this year.
As always,
Go Vols.
go Vols.